Catastrophe in the North Bay with the Kincade Fire growing. CAL FIRE officials say that they've got all hands on deck as we brace for record-breaking wind this weekend that can make things all the worse. And it could be lights out for about millions of people who are warned by PG&E to prepare for another round of power shutoffs across Northern California. Hello, I'm Sogomonian. You're watching KRON On. The app is free to download during these breaking news events. We learned that the relentless Kincade Fire has forced more evacuations in Sonoma County and has already damaged many buildings in its path. We've learned that it has burned more land by the weekend. Take a look. CAL FIRE officials say that flames have consumed 23,700 acres in their last update on Friday night. 49 structures have been destroyed and 600 more buildings are threatened by the fire. Evacuation orders are still in place for the entire town of GEYSERVILLE, which is about 2,000 people. An evacuation center was opened at the Healdsburg Community Center. At last check, that fire was 5% contained. As the Kincade Fire continues to burn out of control, a mandatory evacuation was issued for Sonoma County and parts near Calistoga. An evacuation warning was also issued in Lake County. According to CAL FIRE, residents of Cobb Mountain are told to prepare to leave at a moment's notice. That includes the area of Gifford Springs, Whispering Pines, Anderson Springs, Adams Springs, Hoburgs, and the town of Cobb. This is the same area that was ravaged by the Valley Fire about 4 years ago. And in terms of the areas of Sonoma County, we're learning that the roadways of Ida Clayton Road, which includes residents on Ida Clayton Road, north to Highland Ranch Road at Campbell Road, and east of the 101 between Asti Road and Alexander Valley Road to the Mendocino and Lake County line, including Lakeview Road and extending south along the lake and Sonoma County line to Ida Clayton Road. That is now also being evacuated, and that is an additional one effective immediately. Again, this is an evacuation order for Sonoma County, but there was also a warning for Lake County that we were talking about, but that can also change to a mandatory evacuation at any time because of this fire. KRON On's Gay Long takes a look at the damage that was left behind in GEYSERVILLE, where that fire ignited.
The scene in GEYSERVILLE has been an all-day affair of cleanup and evaluation. Firefighters from multiple agencies are in Sonoma County fighting the Kincade Fire.
If conditions turn worse and we get a wind-driven event again, we will prioritize our actions, and that turns simply into life safety of firefighters and the public, engaging targets of opportunity, structures that can be defended, and basically doing as much good and triaging as you can in those areas.
The fire scorching more than 23,000 acres in rural community of homes and wineries.
Every kind of pasture, grassland we have, it basically wiped it all out.
Robert Young shows us the damage on his family's estate winery on Red Winery Road. The fire swept through the hills by the vineyard and destroyed storage space outside.
At night when the fire hit, there was probably 10 to 15 fire trucks out here, and they were all standing in front of the houses and putting out any of the trees that caught on fire.
It started late Wednesday night and it's still burning. 49 structures destroyed, 600 more threatened. It's a site that's become all too familiar. Just down the street from Robert Winery, neighbors on Geysers Road lost homes. Firefighters are focusing on creating lines while the rest fight the moving flames on the dry brush.
It was very, very eerie. We experienced this back in 2017. And to me, it wasn't really as scary. This time I was pretty scared.
And understandably so. That was Gay Long reporting. For a full list of evacuations, you can visit KRON4.com. More than 1,000 firefighters are doing everything that they can to pre-position themselves ahead of where they believe that fire could spread. Jonathan Cox with CAL FIRE explains a challenge that they are faced with in trying to contain this massive and fast-moving fire.
You can imagine when 10,000 acres burns in less than 12 hours, the number of miles of fire perimeter that are open on that are overwhelming. And although we have 1,300 firefighters 24 hours a day on the ground and aircraft during the day flying this, the task is monumental. We'd love to see it at 90%, and we are throwing as many resources as we can at it. But we also have to plan for the worst, and we also have to think about this large wind event that is coming.
Cox says that 95% of fires throughout the state are caused by people, so it's crucial for you to do what you can to prevent starting a fire. CAL FIRE warns to not cut grass, especially with a lawnmower. Don't pull over your car into dry grass. Check the chains on your truck. Don't drag on the ground, and make sure that your tire pressure is good to avoid driving on wheel rim. There are more tips on readyforwildfire.org. So the concern here, as we've been talking about, is that dangerously strong wind that together with the dry weather has triggered another red flag warning for Sonoma and Napa counties. That starts at 8 o'clock Saturday night and will stay into Monday morning. So potentially the Kincade Fire, or if any other one that erupts, could spread very fast. KRON's Rebecca Strom has all the details.
I'm Rebecca Strom in the KRON 4 Weather Center. A look outside tonight. We're seeing mostly clear conditions over San Francisco International Airport. I'm not tracking any major delays for inbound flights, but the air quality not that great today. And in fact, there's another spare the air alert issued for tomorrow, and it's all because of the Kincade Fire. The smoke, we're thinking that it's going to be possibly blowing across the entire Bay Area through tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. If you can stay indoors, definitely do so. This is a look at the map of what we think and how it's going to be moving. You can see the yellow coloring on your screen. That's when it's going to sweep out of the North Bay and then across the entire Bay Area. Right now, we're tracking it mostly just above the fire region. But unhealthy air quality levels, that's what we're looking at for tomorrow and along the coast and our East Bay and our South Bay locations. So if you do have respiratory issues, definitely want to stay indoors. A high wind warning in effect starting tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, as we are getting a break in the winds for now, but until tomorrow night, that's when we're going to see things really start to amp up around the Bay Area. And then there's also a high wind advisory for our East Bay Hills and our South Bay regions as well. Right now, we're seeing mostly calm conditions for the overnight hours into tomorrow morning before we're going to start to see things really kick up in the North Bay right around 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. We could see upwards of 40, 50, even 60 mile per hour wind gusts that we're seeing, especially along our higher elevations. And then it's going to sweep across the entire Bay Area for your entire day on Sunday and then into early Monday morning. So keep that in mind. Temperatures tomorrow a little bit cooler than what we saw this afternoon. We're looking at 85 degrees for the high in Concord tomorrow, 75 in Oakland, 64 degrees in downtown San Francisco. Your 7-day around the Bay forecast, things are going to start to level out temperature wise as we get into next week for Halloween and then averaging out by next Friday.
The return of the extreme wind predicted for this weekend has PG&E warning about 2 million people that they could have their power cut off. The decision will be made by Saturday morning at 8 o'clock.
And if we do call a public safety power shutoff, that decision will be made in consultation with our state agency partners that are here with us in our Emergency Operations Center. And they include the State Emergency Operations Center, which is Cal-OES, the California Public Utility Commission, and the CALFIRE. So if we do anticipate the forecast, as Scott shared, as well as what the National Weather Services has published, we anticipate that this shutoff could impact approximately 850,000 of our 5 million electric customers. So a very significant impact.
Saying stress that you should sign up for PG&E alerts because although you might live in one of the counties that's listed for the potential shutoffs, unless you get a notification, your power could stay on and they could let you know as soon as 4 hours beforehand if they are planning on cutting it off. PG&E officials again are warning that historically strong wind this weekend could lead them to those shutoffs to about 850,000 customers. Take a look. 36 counties were listed, and here's how many in the Bay Area could be affected. You can see some counties include tens of thousands of customers. PG&E says that the strong wind is expected to pick up starting Saturday between 6 and 10 at night and could last until midday Monday. And all about 400,000 Bay Area customers could be impacted. KRON ON's Dan Kerman reports from Contra Costa County.
In Moraga, people spent the day Friday preparing for the coming power shutoff.
I'm stocking up. I'm going to get some soup, which I won't cook, and just snacks, and I need to get some kind of coffee.
For some, it's been a week-long process.
I've tried to reduce what I keep in the freezer. I thought consciously about that last week. Don't keep stuff in the freezer.
Many of these folks have been through a shutoff earlier in the month. Only when it happened last time, a fire broke out, forcing some to evacuate.
So we had to grab fire, our flashlights, find our shoes, get our coat, get, things that we were worried about leaving behind in case we were going to be out for a few days, and leave the house at 3 o'clock in the morning.
As a result, concerns about the power shutoff paled in comparison to the threat of fire.
I think it's very dangerous right now for anyone not to pay attention to what they're doing.
The fire looks so devastating, and I can't imagine how you survive that if you lose your home and everything around you.
And yet the frustration over repeated power shutoffs continues, especially for small businesses like Squeeze Juice Bar, which will once again have to toss out fruits and ice cream and close for several days.
We were hoping that PG&E cover some of these damages.
At this point, PG&E has said it does not reimburse as a result of weather-related outages. In Moraga, Dan Kerman, KRON 4 News.
PG&E offered tips on how to prepare in case you lose power this weekend. They include talking with your doctor and having a plan for your medication and any medical devices that need power. Also, practice manually opening your garage door and have an emergency kit ready to go with flashlights, batteries, food, water, and cash. Plus, if you have a generator, make sure that it's working properly. You're watching KRON On, streaming Bay Area News 24/7. You can download the app for free during these breaking news events. People in Marin County are getting ready for the possible power shutoffs this weekend. PG&E has already notified more than 80,000 customers in that county alone that they may lose power beginning Saturday afternoon. KRON On's Dan Thorne paid a visit to Mill Valley, where people are preparing by stocking up.
People packing gas pumps to fuel up for another potential round of power shutoffs. The latest PG&E protocol is in response to high wind dangers. Jose Contreras is one of more than 85,000 Marin County customers who could be without power come Saturday afternoon.
They have to fix this problem because our economic is very bad.
Unsure of how long this latest outage will last, he's filling up so his family of 5 can be ready come Monday.
This is my wife's car. I already did mine. And she's like, no, you have to figure out my time because everything is going to be off on Saturday. And we need a car for Monday for the kids. And you want to keep your wife happy.
Goodman's Building Supply in Mill Valley saw a steady stream of customers getting supplies. Marge Callanan is one of those who wants to be prepared.
I picked up some portable lights and some dripless candles. I filled the car with gas and I'm going to get some money.
Many others have been stocking up at the supermarket. Some empty shelves show shoppers like Larissa Weingart have been grabbing plenty of water. She says the planned safety shutoffs are an inconvenience, but she understands the importance.
If it protects my home or my friends' homes, I'm okay with it right now, you know. But I do want it to change. I want there to be investment.
That was KRON On's Dan Thorne reporting. For the updated outage map, you can visit our website at KRON4.com. PG&E also has a map on their website that shows the potential shutoff areas. The confirmed Bay Area counties that could be affected this weekend are Alameda County, starting Saturday at 5 p.m. through Monday at 2 in the afternoon. Contra Costa County beginning on Saturday at 10 p.m. through Monday at 2 p.m., as well as Marin, Sonoma, and San Mateo counties. Governor Gavin Newsom is once again bashing PG&E over their handling of the public safety power shutoffs. The governor did not hold back and made it clear that he will try to hold the utility accountable.
We should not have to be here. Years and years of greed, years and years of mismanagement, particularly with the largest investor-owned utility in the state of California, PG&E. Mark my word, it is a new day of accountability, a new day of transparency. This is not the new normal. This cannot continue. The system simply cannot absorb it.
PG&E sent a report to the California Public Utilities Commission saying that there was a transmission outage in the fire area less than 10 minutes before that fire erupted. The report also said that there was a broken piece on one of PG&E's transmission towers where that fire ignited. The utility says it had turned off power to the lines going to people's homes and businesses before the fire started, but it did not de-energize the transmission lines because the weather conditions did not meet the criteria for a shutdown. PG&E's CEO is defending that decision.
Now this tower is 43 years old, which is pretty common in the industry. That's not an old tower. It has been inspected 4 times in the last 2 years. In 2019 it was inspected by climbing and it was inspected by drone, which is a very good way to inspect. It appears to have been in excellent condition, recently inspected. And so we're just going to have to wait for the results of our investigation at CALFIRE to learn more about that.
PG&E is working with CALFIRE to determine if their equipment caused the fire. KRON ON's Rob Flatabo went to Santa Cruz, where thousands of customers could lose power in a matter of hours. He spoke with neighbors on how they're getting ready.
We're going to be selling a lot of propane today and a lot of gas.
Here we go again, so say the steady stream of people filling up cars, cans, and propane bottles here at the Shell station in downtown Ben Lomond. By this time tomorrow, the telltale sound of generators will be heard throughout the mountains.
I am filling up my tanks for my generator, and I've also got a powered pump, a 10 horsepower Honda motor that fills from my swimming pool, goes into a big fire pump.
I got to run the generator to keep the well going to pump water to the house. No water, all the plants die.
Although subject to change, PG&E for now is projecting that as many as 45,000 customers, almost half of all customers countywide, could lose power from roughly Saturday evening to as late as Monday afternoon. County Communications Manager Jason Hoppen.
So I would, if you had power go out last time, it looks like you should probably expect it to go out this time with some additional loss, specifically in the city of Santa Cruz. It looks like the only relatively safe area is in the city of Watsonville at this point.
Generators will power workstations and allow staff to continue providing services here at the county's main medical facilities on Emmeline Street. The county is also planning to use generators to power traffic lights at a few key intersections after some 24 went dark last time around. Meantime, water managers are calling on the public to conserve.
The more water people use, the more energy it takes from our generators to pump water through the system, to treat it at the treatment facility. And so the less people are using, the less electricity it takes. Hence, we are in better shape to withstand what could be a multi-day shutdown.
As he pumped gas for a steady stream of customers on Friday, Shell manager Talib Saeed told me the station itself ran out of gas last time around. He says that won't happen this time.
Yes, we did. We weren't ready, so that's why we ran out in 2 days. So this time we are more ready.
You got a full tank?
I'm ready. I'm ready for like this couple of days, so we ordered some more gas coming by Sunday. So.
In the Santa Cruz Mountains, Rob Flatabo, KRON 4 News.
In the South Bay, the dangerous fire conditions has CALFIRE on high alert through the weekend. Their airbase near Hollister is coordinating the air attack with firefighters on the ground. The goal is to have at least planes or a helicopter over a fire within 20 minutes of it being reported.
So I know in the south, at least, where we're located, they've done a staffing pattern and held all of our personnel on duty, so we're ready to go for any fire that starts in this area. My job is to fly in the OV-10 and fly up above the other aircraft, the tankers and the helicopter, and make sure there's aerial separation between them. I also guide the tankers and the helicopters in where to drop, and work with the ground resources incident commander to make sure our aerial resources are working together with the ground resources to help mitigate the fire.
It's a big area, and there are a lot of hot spots still, and there's still a lot of suppression work that's needed, but we are benefiting because of this respite of the winds.
Just back from the Marin County fire, the air tanker that you saw is then hot loaded with another 1,200 gallons of fire retardant in under 5 minutes. Pretty incredible. Well, Governor Gavin Newsom addressed the media after touring the fire zone, as you saw there as well. KRON ON's Maureen Kelly was there as he talked about how the state's wildfire planning helped keep the Kincade Fire from becoming a more devastating event.
It's a scene of heartbreaking devastation just like this one that Governor Gavin Newsom came to see firsthand, one of nearly 24 homes lost in the Kincade Fire. His tour happening on the same day he declared a state of emergency for Sonoma County and Los Angeles County, where another fire is burning. After his tour, he came to the CALFIRE station in nearby Healdsburg, where he shook hands with first responders and talked about how the state spending to prepare for wildfires and pre-positioning of fire resources helped keep the Kincade Fire from being a bigger threat.
We've never had more resources in this space.
Listen as the governor describes what he saw on his tour of the fire zone.
Just smaller versions of what has become all too familiar up here from 17 and 18. And that's homes completely destroyed, cars that look like they've been in a war zone, and everything all but melted down except a few curious items. So 28 outbuildings, 21 residential structures that we know of at this moment that have been destroyed. You see vineyards that have been impacted, obviously tremendous amount of land. We'll assess the wildlife damage, but it's a big area, and there are a lot of hot spots still, and there's still a lot of suppression work that's needed, but we are benefiting because of this respite of the wind.
The governor says emergency responders are preparing for what this wind event could mean for this fire. He says they are working with meteorologists and using state-of-the-art technology to strategize and try to anticipate the fire's path. Reporting from Geyserville, I'm Maureen Kelly, KRON 4 News.
California secured a FEMA grant to help with the Kincade Fire response. Governor Gavin Newsom made that announcement on Friday. The grant money will help ensure the availability of resources and help local, state, and tribal agencies recover eligible cost. The FEMA grant will also assist those agencies responding to the fire to apply for 75% reimbursement of their eligible fire suppression costs. Governor Newsom tweeted his thanks to President Trump Friday morning in response to securing FEMA funds. It's going to be difficult to avoid the poor air quality that's blanketing the Bay Area this weekend. Air quality officials in San Francisco are advising residents to prepare for a heat wave combined with smoke from the Kincade Fire. KRON ON's Zig Madune has that story.
Officials here at the Bay Area Air Quality Management District say to expect hot weather and poor air quality starting Friday that will last throughout the weekend.
As the afternoon goes on and the heat comes up, we expect that smoke to start cycling down and impacting air quality, unfortunately. This will happen later today through tomorrow, and then we expect some winds to come in and help move that pollution out. We're concerned about the heat as well, because normally when we have air quality issues, we tell people to stay indoors with their windows and doors closed. But that may not be an option for some if heat is an issue in their home. So we're recommending that people seek out either cooling centers or places that have filtered air.
So if you have an HVAC system, heating, ventilation, a furnace, air conditioning system, one of the things you're going to want to do is get a MERV 13 filter. You can get these at hardware stores. You can buy them online. I swapped mine out yesterday, and the key thing to remember here is you only want to put these things on within your HVAC system when there is a poor air quality event, because it causes so much strain on your HVAC system because it's filtering all those harmful particles out.
Folks out there who use inhalers, you're advised to keep them handy to assist with breathing over the next few days. And these N95 respirator masks may help some people with respiratory problems, but not others. Contact your physician to find out if these masks will work for you. In San Francisco, Zig Madune, KRON 4 News.
As we've been mentioning, the National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning that's going to be in effect for parts of the North Bay from 8 o'clock Saturday night until 11 Monday morning. KRON ON's Rebecca Strom has that in our forecast.
I'm Rebecca Strom in the KRON 4 Weather Center. A look outside. This is our Sutro Tower camera overlooking a nice shot of the Golden Gate Bridge. Nice and clear for your Friday night. There is a high wind warning that's going to be in effect tomorrow night starting around 8 o'clock, especially in the North Bay. We're going to be seeing wind gusts of up to 45 to even 60 miles per hour, and then some of our lower elevations anywhere from 15 to 35 miles per hour. The strongest winds expected in the North Bay and our East Bay Hills, so just keep that in mind. And again, we're looking at this to last through 11 o'clock in the morning on Monday. So it is going to be a very windy Saturday night, the entire day Sunday, and into Monday morning. Relatively pretty calm, though, for tonight into the overnight hours through most of tomorrow until that 8 o'clock hour, especially in the North Bay. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be widespread through the entire day on Sunday. Also, a red flag warning issued by the National Weather Service because of the dry conditions and the warm conditions mixed with the winds.
Sonoma County Sheriff Mark Essex says about 2,000 people are under evacuation orders because of the Kincade Fire. An estimated 1,700 people are in the evacuation warning areas. KRON ON's Nasta Hernia and Teresa Estacio spoke to the public information officers from Sonoma County about how evacuation operations are going.
You know, it's going well in terms of the emergency operation response we have a couple shelters open. Actually, one is on standby, but the Hillsburg Community Center shelter is open, and we have about 72 people there as of last count, and they were able to get places to sleep and meals and health services and things like that there. As you guys noted, I think we're all throughout the area, PG&E from the current shutdown is turning things back on for people, and I think they expect to have everything back up by the end of the day. But of course, we're preparing for the upcoming event and really, really trying to encourage people to think about this weekend, be prepared for a power shutdown, and really be prepared to stay off the roads and to stay inside on Sunday in particular. We're extremely concerned about the high winds and limbs and down trees that could result from that.
And of course, as we mentioned earlier, there are now more mandatory evacuations in parts of Sonoma County that we learned about. So we'll see just how many more people that's impacting. KRON ON's Philippe Jagal also reports from the evacuation zone in GEYSERVILLE, where, believe it or not, some people are actually choosing to ride that fire out rather than leaving their homes.
What's it going to take for you to leave?
When I can't save my house.
Rob Stewart has a trailer packed with tools, food, and water should he need to get out quickly. One of the few homeowners along Red Winery Road at Pine Flat Road in GEYSERVILLE electing to stay home rather than evacuate.
I don't think we're in imminent danger right here, right now.
Still, with the fire burning on the mountain behind his house, he's running sprinklers on the trees and his fence in case embers fly onto his property.
Same as it was 2 years ago, terrifying and exciting and exhilarating, and you're sad for people with losses.
Stewart spent 16 years as a volunteer firefighter for the GEYSERVILLE Fire Department and has a deep appreciation for the work crews are doing to put out the flames. Parts of Pine Flat Road are covered with fire retardant, hillsides are charred black, and the air is filled with smoke, a sign the fire remains close by with the potential to grow if the winds kick up.
Got water storage, got a generator so I can run my well pump and my domestic water supplies, keep our freezers cold and refrigerators, that kind of thing.
He's also holding on to hope that his home will survive. In GEYSERVILLE, Philippe Jagal, KRON 4 News.
We also learned that a firefighter and 2 residents who were trying to evacuate the Kincade Fire were injured on Friday. The firefighter was attempting to get the residents to safety. Officials say that while the firefighter was working on an active portion of the fire, he came across people who were trying to evacuate, so he reportedly shielded them from the fire until help arrived. The firefighter and the 2 residents were taken to a hospital with minor injuries. In other news, during all the wildfire evacuations, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement will not be enforcing immigration laws unless holding back on detaining somebody would pose a serious public safety threat. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that agents and officers will scale back immigration enforcement. ICE is part of Homeland Security and often helps during natural disasters. The sight of uniformed officers can frighten people in the country illegally and deter them from seeking help. Pew Research Center estimates that 2.2 million California residents are in the United States illegally. That's the highest of any state by far. Parts of GEYSERVILLE are now in ruins as the Kincade Fire ripped its way through the community. Firefighters are preparing for another wind event this weekend, as we've been mentioning. KRON ON's Charles Clifford reports from GEYSERVILLE with one last look at that devastation.
Well, here in northeast Sonoma County on Friday, the firefight continues against the Kincade Fire. Now, the big difference today as to the previous past 2 days is the winds have really died down, and that means the smoke is setting in the ground and not blowing off to the west as it has been. That's actually good news for firefighters. It keeps the fire from spreading quickly, and they can get in there and knock down some of those hot spots, including back in the hills behind me here, where crews have been working on trying to keep this fire contained in some very rugged, rough terrain. Now, also today, there was some assessment of damage, including taking a closer look at some of the homes that were burned down, some of the infrastructure that was damaged. They're really assessing that. The governor was here on the ground today taking a look at what has happened. Now, the other thing that CAL FIRE is trying to do is move resources into position and get prepared for what could be a major weather event over the weekend. They are expecting the winds to kick up Saturday evening, possibly through Monday. There is a red flag warning in place, and they're hoping to be ready for that to keep this fire contained and keep it from spreading any further to the east. In the North Bay, Charles Clifford, KRON 4 News.
Take a look at this video of the tick fire that's burning in Southern California as well. A firefighter paramedic with LA County Fire Department tweeted this footage as he helped with water drops to keep flames away from homes. The tick fire has scorched more than 4,000 acres since starting on Thursday. Fire officials said that the tick fire grew to more than 800 acres in 30 minutes. It's still 10% contained, and more than 40,000 residents are under evacuation orders there as well. A red flag warning is also in effect. So a lot of issues all up and down California that we're going to keep a close eye on here. You're watching KRON On, streaming Bay Area News 24/7.